Welcome to the video, guys. The SNP, or Scots Nat Prats as they should be called, are at it again, showing us top tier levels of hypocrisy and stupidity as is common practice for these tosspots in relation to their dreams of Indie Ref 2 and opposition to Brexit. This, among many other things it seems, are going to force Boris Johnson to show Nicola Sturgeon and her Scots Nat Prats who does what when it comes to Scotland, by essentially branding everything up there that is paid for by money from the UK in what some might call a petty move by Boris Johnson, but I think is a great idea just to get the salt flowing from a rabid band of lunatics, like the ones we see protesting on the border recently. That is the type of salt I put on my dinner at night, guys, so let's get straight into it. First, we got Nicola Sturgeon's hypocrisy surrounding Indie Ref 2, then we will get on with Boris Johnson giving this trout the finger. It headlines, Nicola Sturgeon to insist Indie Ref 2 will be final, but still wants to ignore Brexit vote because she's a hypocritical fuckpig, as we all know. Nicola Sturgeon has been a staunch opponent of Brexit since the vote in 2016, even campaigning to stop it from happening. But she is looking to make sure the same cannot be done if the SNP secure independence in a second Scottish referendum, which they could possibly do in 20 years or so because the first one was once in a generation 6 years ago now. One example of Nicola Sturgeon's eagerness to stop Brexit came in April last year when she urged then Prime Minister Theresa May to hold another referendum. Scotland's First Minister said a new extension agreed between the UK and EU at the time presented a fresh opportunity to do so. She said the extension until the end of October gives the UK now an opportunity, and it is an opportunity that should not be squandered. What I would like to see now is the issue going back to the people and the people of the UK as a whole to be given the opportunity to stop Brexit and to decide now to remain in the EU, which we all know is something they have all been begging for ages but was never going to happen. The Tory party knew it would be complete political suicide and they would never get elected again, even with the incompetent Labour Party there. Even after Prime Minister Boris Johnson secured a landslide general election victory in December on the promise to get Brexit done, Ms Sturgeon remained defiant after a successful night for the SNP north of the border. She argued that while Mr Johnson had a mandate to take England out of the EU, he did not have a mandate to take Scotland out. Yes, he did. He had a mandate to take the United Kingdom out, which Scotland is a part of since you don't have a currency, central bank and no way to run your economy, especially not with the amounts of money that Nicola Sturgeon spends. Scotland cannot and never will be able to afford that level of spending, that is for sure. And also, we do always need to remember that the SNP's idea of independence is actually vassalage to the EU. The SNP leader has cited Scotland's 62% vote in favour of Remain in 2016 to strengthen her argument. Yes, but the amount of people who voted for Brexit in 2016 actually trumped the amount of people who voted for her party, so I don't know what she's talking about. However, as the SNP seek legal powers to hold a second referendum, Ms Sturgeon is also trying to ensure the result of this vote cannot be overturned. The EU referendum in 2016 was not legally binding, but the Scottish First Minister wants the result of Indie Ref to be. Naturally, because she knows she's been screaming about stopping Brexit, afterwards people might scream and shout about stopping her independence or what they claim to be independence because we know it's really not. And since we all know the SNP are a puppet government controlled by Westminster at the end of the day, they can't just willy-nilly do what they want. So trying to make it legally binding is her desperate bid to guarantee what she wants, though I still don't think the people of Scotland will actually vote for independence, especially not under this incompetent arsewipe. After the 2019 election, in which the SNP comfortably won in Scotland, Ms Sturgeon formally requested powers from Westminster to hold a second independence referendum, but the notion was firmly rejected by the Prime Minister, and it always will be. He said, "You and your predecessor, Alex Salmond, made a personal promise that the 2014 independence referendum was a once-in-a-generation vote, as I said earlier. The people of Scotland voted decisively on that promise to keep our United Kingdom together, a result which both the Scottish and UK governments committed to respect in the Edinburgh Agreement. Without legislation passing through Westminster, another option for the SNP was a Section 30 order, which allows Holyrood to pass laws in areas that are normally reserved to Westminster. The case is before the Court of Session at the moment, where independent supporters are trying to establish whether Holyrood can legislate for a referendum unilaterally, which they probably won't be able to do, but then again, we know what the Scottish courts are like. They are a complete clusterfuck at the end of the day. Professor McHard told Express.co.uk that a legal row is inevitable. She added, I think a legal challenge is inevitable, and even if the UK government decided not to challenge it, once a bill became an act, anyone could challenge it, which will probably happen. People will crowdfund and get that done. Someone will take it to court if the current case doesn't succeed, in the sense that they say, we aren't willing to make a decision on this until there is a bill, which is a likely possibility. Either the UK government could challenge it pre-enactment, or anyone else with an interest could challenge it afterwards. Either way, as I said, it is literally just a pipe dream from the SNP and shows their utter hypocrisy, especially when you think about how they've been acting in regards to Brexit recently, with this sort of shit you see here happening over the past couple of years. Now obviously, like I said, pathetic shit that the SNP want, which we've just heard about there, is forcing Boris Johnson to do what we can see on the screen now. Boris Johnson to put Union flag on UK funded Scottish projects after Brexit row erupts, and I bet it does. This will really get the salt flowing, which you all know I absolutely love. Boris Johnson is set to stamp key schemes in Scotland which are paid for by the UK government with a Union flag from next year after the country exits the Brexit transition period. Shit fits will be coming, you can guarantee it. The European Union symbol has been used to indicate whether a road or bridge has been directly funded by Brussels but will be replaced with a Union flag. The new Scottish Conservative leader, Douglas Ross, has backed the idea. He said, Tories in Scotland needed to be unashamed of our investment in Scotland. Senior SNP politicians accuse Mr Johnson's government of posturing of the worst order and is trying to force the Union flag down people's throats. No, just down you Scotsnap prats who are gonna get rather salty about it. Which is why I love it so much, despite the fact that Boris Johnson has royally pissed me off over the past couple of months. This, I have to say, is one of the few things that I actually think he is doing good on, taking the piss out of these SNP politicians. The Union flag is set to be used to symbolise when the UK central government money has been spent on Scottish projects. Although a portion of Scotland's government money derives from an annual grant from London, the Union flag will not be used for Scottish government spending. So if he really wanted to take the piss, he could actually do it on everything, but he is just doing it on this for now. Maybe if she carries on being a bit of a cunt, he will actually do it on both and really piss them off. Mr Ross said he wanted to highlight the visual connection between Scottish schemes and the UK government's money. He said, we should be unashamed of our direct investment in communities across Scotland. We will see that through the Shared Prosperity Fund, that is the money that the EU used to earmark for projects in Scotland and other parts of the UK. If they could have an EU flag on it, why not have the United Kingdom flag on it to show that here is an example of our two governments in Scotland working together and the UK government delivering for individual communities projects the length and breadth of the country. Mr Ross added how UK support has been seen through the coronavirus pandemic by supporting local economies. The VAT reduction to 5% is as welcome to tourism and hospitality companies in Shetland as in South Cornwall. The Scottish Secretary, Alistair Jack, said the idea had been signed by both Mr Johnson and Michael Gove. He said that the plan would start next year after the end of the Brexit transition period is over in December. So this plan is actually being put in motion and is going to start next year, which is good news, and I can't wait for the salt that will flow. He revealed how SNP supporters will probably dislike the appearance of Union flags on roads and bridges in Scotland. He added they never got upset about seeing the European Union flag sitting alongside the Saltire. It is only the Union Jack that upsets them. Senior SNP MP Tommy Shepherd called the plans foolish and political tokenism and posturing of the worst order, which is rather funny coming from the SNP, considering political tokenism and all that bullshit is what they love to do almost every single day now. He added it would probably be counterproductive because there is no point trying to force the Union flag down people's throats in the hope that they would like it. It's got nothing to do with them liking it, they will have to lump it. If we pay for it, it should be represented on there. If the Union is so great, they should not need to constantly use the flag to promote it. No, well if the Union of the European Union is so great, why did you always promote that, which you still do to this day? And even said you would keep outside Holyrood after Brexit is done. So don't give me that bullshit on flags when you do it yourself. And the rest of it's talking about Mr Ross being appointed as the new Scottish leader. No one gives a shit. Well, I've got to say, like I said at the beginning, it's fucking great news that Boris Johnson is going to do this, and I actually can't wait for it to come into force. The salt that will be flowing from SNP MPs like Ian Blackford and the rest of them, especially from their rabid supporters, is going to be fucking hilarious, and I really can't wait.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires. And that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.